and we are witnessing a round 5 elimination match in the 2021 Crazyhouse World Championships between retardedplatypus123 from Canada and tjarkvos, who's a very strong chess player, I believe from Norway, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, it says Amsterdam West, so maybe not from Norway, maybe from Holland, and I am mistaken. But okay, he's a very strong bullet player. He's come like third in titled arenas or something. Or even better. I can't remember exactly. But this is game one, and we're going to start from the beginning, and we're going to try and explain ideas. So it's e4, a delayed e5, and no e5 comes. Instead, d5 from Platypus, and it's so it's a French defense without e6. And then e6 comes, so we've turned into a French. He's exchanged his powerful knight to get a knight on h4. It seems like a premature attack because there's not much to follow up, but not many pieces in hand to follow up. There's no open diagonal just yet, so knight takes g2 would probably be throwing too much material without a good follow-up. Now this move, on the other hand, you see, means there would be a follow-up with a pawn on g4 and definitely attacking ideas. So now maybe it's more tempting to take and put a pawn on g4. Still, it's only one pawn, not quite sure if it's enough. But it's a difficult situation. Black is in. He's still quite passive. And Platypus has spent a lot of time on the clock. Okay, he's done what I expected, pawn on g4. Not much material to follow up, but there are ideas. Queen h4, some sacks, maybe. But White was sufficiently worried about this whole situation that he decided to give away his f-pawn to clear away that. So trying to think here, what did he do exactly? He gave away the f-pawn to just bring the rook in as a defender. So because f3 is weak. So he was probably worried about some knight sack and pawn at f3, these sorts of ideas. And now tjarkvos faces a question: does he just want to back off, say black has nothing in hand, and my rook is defending, or does he want to take 2 pawns for the piece because 2 pawns are worth a piece? And he opts for neither of those. He opts instead for just 1 pawn for the piece and going straight for a counterattack. The idea is if you take here, pawn at f7, king e7, and then knight at g8. Rook takes, knight takes, king would come back, and if you have another pawn at f7 is checkmate. So very concerning stuff for Platy. And his idea is to get the queen out with an attacking idea, but also with a defensive idea, to give his king some luft on d8. So that was a very nice move. I was worried for black for a second there, because obviously you can't take this pawn. You're basically getting mated. Well, actually, White didn't have the second pawn, to be fair, but it's very close to getting mated. Whereas here, king d8, you obviously want to avoid e7, because otherwise there's a knight fort picking up your queen, so d8 is instant. And now White has to address the threats. So that was the first threat. The second threat was this. Bishop here, also an idea. So bishop here, idea, picking up the rook, for example, that's one idea. There's also just queen here, but what's the follow-up? Queen here would just be king here. So there's queen here, king here, and bishop here is an idea. Threatening mate and also threatening the queen. So 20 seconds on the clock to try and figure this one out. That's tempting, but there is just queen here, and then do we have material to follow up the attack? So he does this one first. Oh, wow, so White gives up the rook. Oh, and this is a nice one, so you're threatening to take this bishop and then take here, and if you block here, you just take. So the king has to run, but then you take here. So what does he do? So if this, just take here, and we're threatening mate. So strong play from Platy. He's only got 18 seconds on the clock, but he's doing this nicely. So what does white do? I think. So he's really thinking a long time here. And yeah, he does indeed block off the defense of h2, so queen could go straight in here. Black now going for a queen trade, because queen takes queen. But somehow no direct mate found just yet. He can get a queen, but knight takes. But what's the continuation? And 5 seconds left. He just has to play. Takes, and this is all covered, so it should be okay. The only problem is 2 seconds on the clock. And h2 is quite well covered. He can take this. So that's rather concerning. Just knight takes pawn. Oh, I see. He can't take it. This is actually quite cunning, because knight takes pawn, rook takes, and he can never go bishop takes, because always rook takes knight. So bishop takes directly, maybe? Because then this knight still guards g1, so bishop takes directly, maybe. And a lot of time spent. He's found bishop takes, but then, oh, I didn't miss this. Queen comes in, and of course Platy had already calculated this, and queen takes pawn. So the threat is pawn here, check. Very powerful. And also rook takes knight, which will for sure be mating. Rook takes knight. Ooh. I thought rook takes knight first. Okay, well rook takes knight is No, it seems slow. He's still fine, because the key entry square is covered. And now he's trying to come into d3 and take here. Or come into c2 and pick up a rook. So just going for material, and just all the while saying, I missed this. Is he okay? He's hoping just to take here, but then knight here might be a problem, but then he can just take it. Okay, that's too slow. Now he gets to come in and find some mate. So where's the mate? Rook here, check. Back rank. Where's the mate? Queen takes knight. Bishop was cunning because it stopped. Queen takes knight, but where's the mate? I can't see it. Oh, with only 2 seconds. Oh, this is a disaster. He has no mate. I mean, knight here, check, will be mate if he can survive, but he surely can't survive this. With the queen, white has a queen in hand, just needs to keep the checks, and it will all be over. There's still a mate. Okay, the king is on the mating square now, which is kind of funny. But now black has a queen in hand. And queen, yeah, queen here will be checkmate. But where's the king go? Rook takes pawn forced, and bishop. Okay, so Platy just got mated there, in what was surely a winning position. But I think the critical moment was not taking that knight with check. Was I think the critical moment, but I could be wrong. So if anyone is watching and would like to, yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe I am in House Party channel on Discord if people are watching. I'm not sure if I'm going to lag and have to leave, but if people do want to hop in to House Party, maybe you can join in for a bit. So I'm going to quickly have a look at what I think was that was a beautiful move here with Queen h5, but this is fine. This position here, taking the knight first, was what I was thinking, but maybe that wasn't the idea. I thought rook takes knight, picking up a knight and then taking the queen was very strong, but apparently I am mistaken. So what happened in the game was fine, takes, but I shouldn't have. Okay, I should turn the engine off again. Hi there, Zaraza. So what was the problem? This can't be too bad. Why didn't he do this though? That doesn't work. Okay, so this is already a difficult situation when he's forced to. Yeah, so this was already a difficult situation. Maybe here taking the knight might have been a good idea. But okay, and if knight takes, then idea is knight f3. Okay, so basically tjarkvos really made it complicated to find the mate, even though Platy was winning. So, okay, let's look at the beginning of game two. I'm going to go through it a bit more slowly so we can. So it's a d4, d5. Both sides developing. Notice how they develop their bishops outside the pawn chain. It's a slightly better than keeping your bishop stuck behind that pawn. And it's often you want to challenge this bishop because otherwise this diagonal will be dangerous. So that's why they challenge. Challenge. So it's quite symmetric position. Symmetric London. And we see again Platy going for this attack on g7. Going with the knight for the attack on g7. Sure, this could come, but then there'd be bishop takes h7 and queen takes with check. And I think white would get quite a lot of initiative. So instead this happens. And notice, you can see here again, tjarkvos likes to defend with the f6 move, just like in game one. So we're already seeing certain patterns. Platy, quite an aggressive player. Now he's looking at the e6 square. But again, is this a strong move? The problem is black can defend with tempo, so I'm not sure about this move. But he instead goes with the knight. And this move is basically white saying, I want a pawn. And where does he want a pawn? He would want a pawn for h6. h6, knight takes, bishop takes, and so on. So just a plain attempt from white, I want to grab a pawn. So he's saying, I'm attacking and I want a pawn. And in this position here, okay, he backs up. He doesn't want to give away a whole piece. There could be a case here just for going straight in now, h6. But he doesn't. He does this instead. I'm again surprised that he doesn't just go for it. But okay, he backs up again, takes. But by doing that, black is maybe able to regain the initiative. And now we're up to the live position. And you see how, in a sense, white never got a chance to play that h6 move that he wanted to start his attack. And it's true he would have had to give up a piece to do so. But, ooh, little tactic found by black. So the idea is he's just winning a pawn. Unless this works, he's winning a pawn. Yeah, this doesn't work because he throws in with check and then takes back. So black has just won a pawn. He's just won a pawn, but hey, white could win a pawn too, but then maybe this knight falls. So this is a very double-edged position because queen takes e6 looks nice, but it comes with a return attack on the queen. So Zaraza, you could hop in if you like, but just can't promise I'll be able to stay for the whole stream. Blunderman, knight g7. Okay, so that's an interesting move. Because I missed this, because h6 now is hanging. Okay, now that's... Yeah, I'd say knight g7 is like the queen h5 move last game. I completely missed it. And black takes this bishop, and queen takes here. And already I'm worried... Okay, this is actually a defensive move, defending g6, because otherwise bishop here, queen takes would just be game over. Whereas in this position also, bishop here, king here is not clear. So I'm in house party at the moment if people want to join in, but I also have quite slow internet, so I'm just trying my best. So he's going for this anyway, and I don't... King h1, if takes is the problem. So that doesn't work, I don't think. And if this... But the thing is, this doesn't seem to work either, because just takes. So black just seems fine here. No, I think it was a nice idea. Just what's the follow-up here? That seems correct. Taking the knight doesn't seem... Yeah, that seems fine. Just, I'm not sure about this move. Why not? But I'm not sure what else either. I mean, maybe here in this position taking the knight was correct. But okay, he takes here and then does this. And he's down to the last 10 seconds. Okay, so we'll stay with the live action. He does take that knight. That knight is a beast because it was protecting g6. And the knight on g7 was just protecting the king, so he's just trying to get rid of it. And he's going for bishop takes g6 and just go all in. Hi there, Gingerbread Man and Blunderman, who had the idea in the first place, now doubting it, doubting himself. I think the attack continues. So you see how white is down a lot of material. He's down a full queen, basically. A full queen Maybe for pawns, or for a queen for a pawn or something. But look at this king. I mean, it's on the verge of being mated. Ideas like bishop here are nice, if white can get them in. You want to block the king's escape. If the king ran to safety, it would be all over. So you want to block the king's escape. Maybe bishop here even. The problem is king looks safe actually on e7. That's the slight problem. Blunderman says, I don't doubt anymore. I'm convinced it was bad. Yeah, well, you're... Train Flipper saying, white looking weirdly good. Beat bishop h3, basically GG. Oh, I was expecting knight takes bishop, but okay, going for the pawn. And what's the idea? Takes, bishop here. So this is... The king is kind of stuck in the middle of the board. Whoa, all of these knights, and now we're picking up a queen as well if we wanted it. But we don't need it, we've got the mate. The king would step back, and rook here is checkmate. Because it was a double check, and tjarkvos resigns. So, 1 game all. No mistake this time. Yeah, okay, I think I do need to disconnect from Party Channel because I have audio issues. So I'm glad people didn't join me because I have to leave. So I'm just going to disconnect from Discord. My internet can't cope, unfortunately, with having guests, even though I had no guests. Gingerbread Man says, I have arrived after an awful performance in the daily Crazyhouse. And Gingerbread Man saw the moon. It said, yikes, so many drops, so much pain in the last game. Indeed. Now this game, I'm just going to back up a couple of moves, because this position we saw before in game 1, and this move as well, and this move. And king takes knight came. So we're seeing a repetition in many ways, except in game 1, tjarkvos went for this move, and now he's adapted and gone instead for knight at g5. Hi there, Chessie2009. Gingerbread Man says, Ich spreche nur ein bisschen Deutsch. Which means I speak a little bit of German, which I do too. I did GCSE German. We see tjarkvos loves that f3 move, but to be honest, I've forgotten everything, so it's just a remainder. Oof, we're seeing sacks because this knight is not free at all. I mean, the problem is taking it comes back with check. So he wants pawn here and knight here. That's what he wants. So you see here, pretty all-out attacking from Platy. It feels like it's too heavy. Feels like he's sacking too much. But having said that, the white king is a bit hairy, and maybe he can make it work. Or maybe or maybe white defends with pawn g3 and just casts aside this bishop, and then claims he's safe because the knight is keeping the king safe from, and then the pawn here would defend against knight checks. But tjarkvos is not for lying down and defending, giving up a piece and defending. He's going all in, and this is dangerous. If you go into the corner, pawn here and rook on the back rank would be incredibly hairy because you're about to give a rook. So you have to step back, like so, and then it's not so clear. And white does have a lot of material, so a queen in hand, that does not look like an exciting prospect. So the question is, black here is looking for mate, basically. And Zaraza of the brain knows a little bit of German too. Gingerbread Man says, how old am I? Yeah, too old. Okay, so this is very nice if it's mate. This is what I was trying to say. And I don't, because unfortunately queen here is the checkmate threat, and it's very hard to defend because f7 is also weak. So if we don't have mate here, and I don't think we do, I think this is... So here, tjarkvos' plan is just to walk the king across, and this diagonal is always defend, and Platy's out of material. So Was there anything he could have done? Yeah, now he's just hoping. So it's just a case of finding the mate now for tjarkvos. So this is one idea. So can he get in on f7 somehow is the question. It's not actually obvious. And the counter threat is something like rook here, check, and driving the king up the board. If the king goes down, then it's queen here, and it'll be surely it'll be mate very soon. So rook here, king coming up. Again, I don't know if it's mate, but it looks hairy. So can we see a mate though? For white, yeah. This is a good first move. What's the follow-up though? Well, I guess black's used his drop, so there's no urgency. He could just take. Or even just take here. There's no urgency, but there is knight here. Oh, yeah. So he could just take and drop a knight on d8 next. So, and black's already exhausted his material, so white is therefore safe. So pick up a free rook, and chess it, as it were. That's probably the way to go. This move allows back rank defense, but it does open up this square, but this square is defended, so knight here doesn't come. Pawn here. All the checks seem defended. That's why this doesn't seem like the correct approach. Unless this is mating somehow. And queen takes pawn, knight here. Okay, let's try and calculate it. Yeah, this is going to surely mate. Queen takes pawn here, knight here check, drives the king back. Bishop here check, and then a pawn will mate. Yep. So queen takes pawn was mating for sure. Bishop here check is just all powerful. If you ever step here, there's pawn here takes checkmate. If you step to a dark square, there's definitely a mate. I mean, stuff like knight here, rook takes, rook here. I mean, I can't see exactly, but it was mate. But instead, he went for a dark square attack, and looks like this will work as well. It'll be a kind of pincer movement. If black tries to block, bishop here check will go takes, and force him back down, or actually just knight here check. So any block you can just take with knight here check. So he has to back off, but if he backs off, he's giving away this whole diagonal. And now it's just going to be a bishop here is going to be all controlling. So you notice he's controlling all these dark squares. And he wants, yeah, just pawn here and takes all you mate. Yeah. Okay, so very nicely played there from tjarkvos, who takes a 2-1 lead. So he went a different way to the way I was thinking, but still effective. Now I see that in some matches, players keep on changing up their opening every single game, but this is not one such match. We're seeing both players are playing the same way. Are playing the same way each game. Or similarly. I mean, I think what happened in game one, for those who remember, black actually backed off, so we're seeing a slight deviation here from tjarkvos actually taking on d3. Yeah, that was the old. Okay, so slight deviations, very slight deviations. Yeah, so he was eyeing g7, but he was also eyeing e6 here. So again, very direct from Platy. He doesn't have a knight for a check. If he had a couple of knights, that would already be very dangerous. Didn't really have anything. So, and didn't have any sacks. Just only a couple of bishops. Yeah, bishops are not the right. So this is quite a smart move. f5, and the queen has to say, "Yep, I made a mistake." But so e6 is always a weakness in these sorts of positions. So you always have to look out for moves like knight takes d5, bishop at e6. But what's actually holding the position together here is this this black knight. Okay, tjarkvos doesn't want to hang about. Doesn't want to get attacked like he has been attacked in other games, and so he's going on the attack, sacking a bishop. Well, not sacking, exchanging a bishop for 2 pawns, which is reasonable. So the plan would be this, I guess this, so you don't have time to just go grabbing rooks because you're going to get mated. And black is just going for the big center. Black looks kind of solid. Yeah, he's being both aggressive and solid. You see, he's given up a piece for pawns this game. So he's got pawns, but I'm not. He's doing something which would be correct in chess, which is dominating the center. It's not entirely the right approach in Crazyhouse because you have to protect your king. So maybe a move like at g6 would be the right approach here. This also seems good. What's tempting is queen takes knight and knight takes pawn. Ooh, I think that was a move missed. You see, queen takes knight, knight takes pawn is very, very powerful because it would have threatened knight at h6 and g7 checkmate while also hitting the queen. So unless you're getting mated, queen takes knight was an amazing idea. And you weren't getting mated with a bishop, a pawn, a queen, nothing mating you. Platy missed queen takes knight. That's a real shame. A rook f6, yeah, rook f6 would stop the mate, but you lose the queen back. You get the queen back, which is kind of nice. So that would have surely been good for white. But of course, you know, I'm not an engine, so I could have missed something. And again, so the problem here. Oh, I was expecting check and takes here. We could still see it with pawn here, check and take here, but there are probably better ideas like bishop here, check takes. Somehow, what's happened to the dark squares? Like what happened? Seriously, pawn here, check, and just bishop here, and then king has to take the knight. So already Platy is looking for mate. This is going too fast for me. This is going too fast. I'm still kind of like wanting to go back. Hang on a second, wasn't there a mate there? Can I just go back to this position here? Whoa. Like, what on earth happened here? So, knight takes knight, surely. Okay, takes. So this position here, just for a second. This check here, bishop check, blocks, takes, put another bishop on, king takes knight, put another bishop on, king here. Why is this not mating? Bishop here, check. You got three bishops, or pawn here, check, and then come here with the queen. I mean, it's surely mating. Anyway, maybe everything is winning, so it's fine. So he goes check, 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 and he now needs to find the mate with a pawn, four bishops, a rook, and a queen. So yeah, maybe it's just the thinking that everything wins, so it's fine. Now, the classic thing to do in this sort of situation when the king is on the fourth rank, his fourth rank, is to put the queen behind the king so it can never run back. He missed that opportunity, which is a bit of a shame, because now the king is getting away. Why didn't he do that? He might still have a way of getting in, like queen takes knight sort of ideas. Queen takes knight, knight takes pawn is actually looking devastating. So queen takes, with two bishops, a rook, you've surely got enough, but there's also just bishop takes pawn, knight takes, queen takes. That's also going to be surely going to be enough. But the king is kind of sliding away. How has he allowed this to happen? So this is a bit slow, and so white's threat is clear. Queen takes knight and mate along the 7th rank, and basically white is always safe because the queen is guarding g2. I mean, this is covered twice even, so there really is nothing. There's just like a check on h2, and you just take it even. So there really isn't anything in the position for black rather, but not the fastest mate. So we can try and calculate what was the queen takes knight move. Queen takes knight, king takes, knight takes pawn, and then surely, yeah, this is just all over. Yeah, black just resigns. So tjarkvos, he's sort of hard to mate, and Platy just grabbing the material. So with that game, things level up at 2-2, and we see just a slight change in approach, by the way. I just have to highlight it. Instead of going for d5, knight f6, knight c6, d5, we see Platy actually going into mainline e4, e5 theory, and he's going for bishop e7 rather than bishop c5. So are we going to see a sack on f7? We don't. You see a sort of scotch, takes, and in this sort of position, maybe one of the moves is certainly knight e5 to hit this bishop, which is loose, while also guarding f7. But Platy goes for this. So you have to always ask yourself, is bishop takes f7 anything? And maybe it's not, because white doesn't have an obvious follow-up with only a pawn in hand. But we see bishop takes f7 anyway, so maybe he was inciting that in some sense. At some point, black's going to have to go d5 fast, rook f8, get his king safe. But it's white's move, so he only has 2 pawns in hand, but it is his move. And he's going to grab a knight, which is obviously slightly concerning. Takes, but the king always can step back to f8 and probably okay. Gingerbread Man says, I know nothing about e4, e5. Yeah, I know little, but we can analyze the overall. So knight takes knight. Obviously, you don't want to be losing your queen as well as a knight, or you really would be all over. So he takes this way. That seems reasonable. And a straight attack on h6. Rook here, knight here checks, steps back. So the attack on h6 is because the king is coming down to f8, and already this is looking worrying for black, actually. Something's gone wrong. Can't even take here because bishop comes back with check. So this is worrying times for Platy. Tjarkvos played this extremely well. This knight reinforces this pawn, and the threat is simply takes and drop again on h6. Katask says, this was played in 2020 CWC, Oppa Jasugi. I guess the latest word on this was in the Bugzilla Lone Wolf match. Was Oppa white? Tjark is pronounced a bit like Chark, says in a few minutes. Oh, thanks. So tjarkvos, I guess. Anyway, this is clearly not good for black by the looks of things. So he's Dutch. Yeah, I guessed. So the issue is a back ranker. f7 and back rank. But so the problem is white's got choices. Do I try and chase away this knight so the back ranker becomes serious? Or do I just keep plugging away on h6? So and is the V like a V or like a W? Is it? So it's not like a German V, is it? Like tjarkvos. It is tjarkvos. So this is incredibly uncomfortable. So he decides to keep plugging away on h6, and okay, so we get some respite on f7. Notice that doesn't work. I don't think. No, that can't be right. There's always this move, which is kind of funny. Again, I don't think it quite works. It's just an interesting idea. If white ever wants a queen trade, I mean, white wants pawns, so it's tempting. Knight takes pawn, pawn takes, queen takes queen check, bishop takes, and pawn here threatening queen here checkmate, but also threatening this. Feels reasonable. White wants pawns, but the disadvantage of this is we lose our hold on f7. So what's another way of getting a pawn with that rook somehow? Queen takes d7. Oh, queen takes d7. Hi there, Gustraba. So queen takes d7. Okay, so does that work? So if we take back in some way, the threat is king here, but the knight is still protecting the mates, isn't it? So what's the... I don't see, so pawn here, king here, if rook here takes, all we get is a knight, that's no good. So I don't see it. This just seems like Yeah, Katas agrees with me. Yay. Knight takes c6. And Morlock says knight takes c6, b takes c6, queen takes d8, b takes d8, rook at f8 maybe. Oh, rook at f8. Interesting. Yeah, I was thinking just at g7. I was thinking at g7 first, and then rook at f8 next. But instead, okay, he goes for picking up a pawn here. Ooh, with the knight. Interesting. So picking up 2 pawns for that knight is what he went for instead. And Katas is agreeing with me again, just at g7. So, well, Platy's only got now 10 seconds, and it's what do I do here? And what's the threat? Somehow, can't we just go d5 and pretend we're fine? No, probably not, because that will weaken up this square. So he's trying to chase away that rook. Rook takes knight, bishop takes... I don't... Somehow I think black has survived. We could take this one twice. He's fearless, just going for a counterattack. Okay, that seems optimistic to say the least. Wow, and Platy is just a fearless attacker, I have to say. Like, what's the idea here? Oh, he's got a knight now for his efforts. It's actually uncomfortable. I feel like this is uncomfortable. But. Uh-oh. The queen's coming in. That is trouble. He has to go this way. Don't let the... Oh, okay, he can take. Don't want to let the queen come in. And white has a knight in hand, so knight here is coming. He's trying to run. So... Okay, so the question is, does black have something here? So rook at f1, I think Morlock was already saying rook at f1 earlier, but is there a finish? We have another rook in hand, so this move is just to try and block off the king's escape in some sense. Could we just go rook here? Okay, so blocking off the king's escape here makes sense. If we've got enough, have we got enough to finish this? The king wants to do this. 2 seconds left. The king, yeah, I can't do that, surely. Back rank mate. How did Platy survive that? Katas says bishop a6 was a risky pre-move. Good game. Gets a good game from Katas. Well done. And Andruha is praising. Okay, so these sorts of positions, h6 is still being left a little bit open, so it's very tempting. Can we go knight h6? Can we even go bishop takes f7 and then knight h6? So tjarkvos is being quite provocative, leaving these weak squares open on f7 and h6, and it's just a question of which move order. Very impressive from Platy, surviving what looked like an unsurvivable position. Now I don't understand knight f4 because suddenly black is looking very solid, but we can begin again, as it were. I'm not quite sure how you begin again, but I mean, black is very solid, but notice he has no pieces in hand. But he could do this and this. He's got to just do some waiting moves. He doesn't want to push this pawn. He could push this one. I don't. It felt unnecessary to go ballistic, but okay. He's not losing anything, and he's getting a big center. So, but okay. I think h6 is necessary. h6 is a problem. He needs to deal with that. So black defends. At some point, black has got to expand somewhere. Maybe like this and then this, something like this. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, the f7 seems to be secure for now. I guess, yeah, there was no d5. No, there was d5 when the pawn was on e6, but maybe there was a double take or something. So it gives away the piece for a pawn. So tjarkvos is saying, I reckon this is a secure setup for my king, and I think he's right. I think it is. I think it looks incredibly hard to break down, but f7 though is a potential weakness. Okay, you can see he wants to play d5, but if he wants to play d5, he should have played d5 when the pawn was on e6. I think, but okay, maybe not. And Gingerbread Man is saying white is always happy to sack this knight on c3 for a couple of pawns, because this knight's not really, knights take a long time to get into the action. Well, maybe, but only a couple of moves and he's in. So, you see tjarkvos likes his pawns. I was thinking this, but this could be, yeah, this was coming as the problem. Okay, so black has got in d5. So if black has got in d5, it's like in chess. If he really has built this center, this is quite formidable. A formidable job for Platy to break down. But just think about it. He is up a lot of material. He's up 2 pieces. No, he's up for a piece for a pawn, I think. So I don't think maybe it's not the end of the world, but it's gonna require some patient play. So what's the approach? Notice black doesn't have anything in hand. Can we afford to just put a pawn on here, or do we do this? So he's willing to give up a rook. Okay, so with this move, it creates weaknesses, but there's attacking idea. He's giving his bishop some. He's giving his bishop responsibilities to guard these squares, and he's trying to make up for the fact he has no pieces in hand. So that's the one thing that Platy has going for him. He has 3 knights and a pawn in hand. So it's a question of, can you do anything? Yeah, I wonder if you should have taken the rook before this f3 came. But if you didn't, it's like I don't know what to do with the rook. f3 now, Blunderman said. At f3, exactly. And it came. Yeah, this is starting to hurt. This is starting to hurt now. Whoa. Okay, so suddenly this is opened up. It's a risky move, this, because white does still have a lot of material in hand. So it's basically a move saying, I want to open up this position fast. There are issues. I'm not sure, like in this position here, with a pawn and a knight, was there something else? There was a check, but no clear follow-up. Pawn here, but then when we got nothing in hand. So he goes for, I want to trade, and yeah, he's having to defend h6. Your bishop on g7 is a beautiful defensive piece. Are we going to even have to play f6? That would look a bit ugly. Blunderman says black has nothing. And Druhal was eyeing c7. c7, sure, but this is a game about the king. So what's the follow-up to c7 is the problem. If you're allowing bishop takes g7, yeah, this is looking risky. So he's going to go king h8, I think. So now rook mates. So white's thinking, can I get a rook somewhere? He can. You can get a rook at e8, and now bishop takes g7 is also a threat. So that knight is not a dead piece, as it were, because queen takes knight, bishop takes bishop, rook takes queen. Ouch. And now he has the rook for h7, and he's left open g8, so game over. So, I thought Platy was doing badly there at one point, but and I mean more specifically, I thought Platy was doing badly. So if I thought, yeah, maybe at this point here, I thought maybe he was doing badly, but apparently he's still doing fine. At f4 would have been the correct approach, and then going back to this position here, yeah, here already I thought he was doing quite well, and maybe, yeah, so here's doing well. Somehow something went wrong at this sort of critical point. At f3 takes pawn here, takes queen, rook takes f4. So this is maybe the point where black could have played something else at f6 or at h6. And the idea being what? If you just take here, I mean, if you just take what if you just take this? What's the concept? At d7, try to deflect the queen, and then you get a knight in on f6. So quite advanced concepts. And then the at c7 idea that Andrew was having, it's a very nice advanced idea, which I didn't realize, just deflecting the queen from f6. So that was the way for white to win really cleanly. After this, suddenly black was making progress into his position, and it took some really good play to bring it back, which Platy did. Okay, so with that, Platy takes a 4-2 lead, and we're just going to go through this game a little bit more slowly. And he goes into a new opening, a straight-up French defense, but in which tjarkvos is not playing e5 until now. And the knight is not coming to e4 as we saw in previous black games. It's going to g4, and that means he must have been thinking, is he contemplating some kind of sacrifice? So he defends f2 and pawn here. And the idea of this move is so that if you ever try and chase this knight, you're happy to give the knight for a pawn and for this open file. So this knight now is actually quite happy on g4. Platy finding rhythm, says Gingerbread Man, and saying, I thought he needed a slower approach. When black sacks 2 pieces for pawns, he should stop pushing but wait and play defense. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, so takes. It's hard to say who should attack and who should defend, because if you've got the pieces in hand. Okay, so what are we thinking here? He's going for takes g2, so that's why he gets taken. So takes back, and white going straight for a counterattack. And by going knight takes, he's deflected the knight from e4. So this is interesting. So black has a lot of attacking ideas, but black is also feeling a bit uncomfortable because he can't go to f8 because knight takes rook, but he can't. Can he afford to take f7? He has to take f7. But okay, so this is actually quite nice because white's he really wanted knight at g6, but he couldn't. So he's had to go knight at h7. And if we go here, pawn here is checkmate. And if we go here, pawn here, king here, it just feels very uncomfortable. But if you take here, that doesn't feel good either. Unless you got, whoa, unless you got a mate. Well, is there a mate? So is knight at h6 mate here? That's the question. So knight at h6 would be a smothered mate, but we can just take it. So here it's very tempting to just maybe go here, pawn here, king here, and claim white's run out of material. But he probably hasn't run out of material. He can go stuff like queen takes knight. Okay, I'm not sure. But okay, so this looks bad for black. If he's having to sack his rook. So he's just stepping up with his king to protect the back rank, but this looks So he didn't have a mate with 2 knights. What would have been the mate? Knight here takes... The problem is f3 is covered, e2 is covered. But was there really nothing? So knight here takes... Yeah, there's... Bishop takes f2 would just be takes. Could there have been something? I'm just trying to imagine if there's something here. Bishop takes f2, rook takes, queen here, check, king takes, knight takes, rook. That looks... Oh, rook takes is check. Okay, okay. So just throw everything out the window. Yeah. And the problem with this move is the ideas on f2 still don't... Still nothing. But the problem is he didn't want to go to a dark square, or maybe at d6 becomes a future idea, and knight g6 becomes an idea. So, okay, very uncomfortable position for black. And tjarkvos, after a long think, has gone for rook at g8. So Blunderman says last game, black kept pushing as if he had an attack and just weakened his position. Yeah, but the problem is he has no pieces in hand. So if he sits back, then white gets his pieces on the board, and so it's actually a very difficult situation. If you are... Oh, so someone's just said actually knight takes f2 is a beautiful idea. Yeah, knight takes f2 is a beautiful idea, because then rook takes is met with check, and if you go taking the queen, okay, that's game over, because this is checkmate. So can you find it? He's got no other choice, basically no other move. It might not work, but what else do you do in that situation? Knight at h8 is a kind of funny idea. I really want knight at h8 to work here. Knight at h8, king here forced. Rook takes pawn, block takes king back, and where's the mate? No, okay, that doesn't... King here, what's the follow-up after king here? I kind of really want knight h8 to work, but maybe it doesn't. Knight here, check, king here, knight, rook takes pawn, pawn here, knight g6, knight g6, king here, rook takes pawn, checkmate. That is beautiful if that works. Oh, I really want knight at h8 there to work. But okay, instead he goes defense 0 seconds on the clock. Very difficult position. Very difficult position. tjarkvos just kind of going for the flag. And I'm just going to just check. This, does black have anything here? Just take the knight, and we're still threatening the mate. So that was not necessarily the best move. Was knight at h8 something? It was. Knight at h8. I'm not claiming it's the quickest mate, but I think it's kind of neat. Rook takes g7. And the point is, if you block on f7, there's this move I showed you, knight g6, king comes back, rook g8, and rook here is checkmate. So that's the line I did see, but what I hadn't analysed is there's just king down immediately. Bishop takes here, at f7, bishop takes f7, king f8, and then moves I didn't really see at e7. Okay, I'm going to go with... It's not necessarily the fastest, but it's the most logical. Bishop g5, again, that doesn't make sense. Why would you do that? I don't understand. Knight g6, king takes f7, rook takes knight. Oh, I see, just to deflect that bishop from f2. Okay, so it's hugely complicated. So clearly knight h8, okay, it worked, but it's not the best. What was the best in this position? Just bishop takes h5 at g6. I'm sorry, I'm missing your commentary. And knight at h6. Oof, what a crazy move. The idea is, if king e7 takes, king e8 at f7, and just promoting, and if you take this knight, then suddenly bishop takes g6, king e7, rook g7, you can block, but I'm taking and I'm coming down here, and then I'm promoting and I'm mating you. So bishop takes h5, the cool idea. Blunderman says he had knight takes f2 a move before rook g8. So in this position here, he had knight takes f7 immediately. And apparently rook at g8 is mating you, is a mate for white here. But we won't go into the details. But apparently, it didn't quite work, but quite exciting stuff. But actually, oh, black had a mate here. Oh my goodness. So black did have a mate here. I was thinking knight at h3, but knight at f3 Now, okay, I am shocked here. So knight f3 is the mate. The idea is, if you step here, queen here, rook takes, knight takes pawn is smothered mate. So you absolutely need to take it. But you can't take it with the g pawn, because otherwise there's bishop takes pawn here, and g2 is open. So you can't slide here, pawn at g2, king takes, knight at h4. So you have to take it back. But then we have a queen in hand, and we're landing with the queen on g1, basically. So queen here, queen takes g1, and king takes knight, but then knight takes f2 is a beautiful checkmate. So knight at f3. So you can't take it. So can you just slide? You can't slide to h1. Okay, but why can't you take this? Because bishop takes f2. Yeah, so, and there's nothing else you can do. So if the idea is pawn here, king takes pawn. If you don't take the bishop, that doesn't work either, because knight h4, king here, and queen here is checkmate. So knight at f3 is a beautiful mate that Platy had in this position, but instead he went for knight takes f2, which hangs a mate, and then he's still okay here if he does bishop takes knight, but time was too low. So tjarkvos gets one back, and we're missing a bit of the live action, but that's okay, that was worth it. And Andruha says, what if bishop takes f3? Of course, sorry, that's the important point. I lost my train of thought there. So if bishop takes f3, I think the problem is then the bishop is no longer defending, so knight at h3 works. So after this move here, knight here check, bishop takes f3. Now, when the bishop's on f3, it's no longer defending f3. Oh, so I want to go knight h3, but I'm gonna just check. Okay, this is hard. Sorry, this is hard. So bishop takes f2, and the point is you can't sidestep here because of knight g3 check and queen h2 mate, so we have to take it. And then queen at e1, and the problem is you can't just block it with the bishop or something, because then I have queen takes rook, and a rook is a very powerful piece because the rook on g1 then will mate. So we have to move the rook back, but now this is a simple back ranker. Just push the king away, and queen takes rook, and queen takes is checkmate. So actually a lot of these ideas is just because the rook is not defending this rook, there's a problem. F1 is no longer defended. Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. The bishop here was actually defending f1. Yeah, good point. Yeah. So quite tough ideas here. Very cool, mate. So bishop takes pawn. Can't go here because of knight g3 takes, queen h2 mate. Have to go here, but then there's no back rank defense. You're just coming in with the queen. Boom. So okay, we've missed a lot of the live action, but that's okay. So Platy is 4-3 up, and we see no longer a London system from black. tjarkvos is going for a slower game this game. Well, we saw it again, a slower game, going for pawns. Just he's got to watch out for h6. He's going for a bishop. We know tjarkvos likes his big centers. He's going for a pawn, getting his piece back, so that's good. Add h3, so he's allowing add h6 counter, and it comes. So we're seeing both sides going at each other. This is classic stuff. Rook e1, takes, defends, at g7, both sides. So basically black needs a rook to mate, but takes the bishop, takes, so black seems to be doing okay here. Knight takes pawn, okay, there's a weakness here and here. I hope I finish before the live action. The thing is, where's the finish? What's the idea of this move? I'm not sure exactly what he's thinking, but... and we're up to the live action. Oh, he's giving away a queen. So he must have some plan, but I'm not sure what it is, because he doesn't have much material, does black. That's the problem. And there's an overload. The bishop's overloaded, it's game over. Yeah. Game over. And Platy gets this back rank mate. So we were there just in time. No, I don't think black was necessarily doing so badly the whole time, but maybe he was. Was there some critical moment there? Basically, this move seems strange. But what do you do here as black? Black gets a chance for initiative here. Just at e7 maybe. So this move seemed too slow. But I don't know what else he could have done. The whole thing of attacking on h3, yeah, white's attack was faster is the problem. That was so it takes at h6 came. It's very strong. So I think maybe just doing something like this first. But okay, that's just my opinion. So Platy, he attacks second, but he attacks stronger, and we're now into game 9. Game 9 out of 10. So Platy is now 5-3. So a draw this game is enough to take the match. And we're seeing this delayed French defense that we saw before. And last time he went for this, and black offers draw, white declines draw. Of course he does. So takes, and we're up to the live action. Oh, night, Gingerbread Man. Sorry, you're going to miss just the very last game. Probably if you stay another 5 minutes, you'll see the end of the stream. Drain Flipper says, was fun the first time, definitely bad manners the second time. So Platy just taking the mick here with the double draw offer. I expect this will be the last game of the series if Platy can find a way through. So, but okay, if you have to go to sleep, that's okay. And we're going to see another match actually in. This match has gone on a long time, hasn't it? Because we're going to see another match in 40 minutes between Metin48 and Tremil_2. Yeah, he's trying. I mean, trying to confuse his opponent with the draw offers. Yeah, it's kind of annoying to do that again and again. Though. And it's not. I don't think that's. It's not Platy's style to do that kind of thing. So, I guess. I mean, I've never seen him do stuff like that before, so I'm gonna give it as a pass. I think it was a double draw offer, and like it was rejected, and he offered it again. He didn't realize it had been rejected, that kind of thing. Okay, but actually he's very uncomfortable here. So let's actually look how white has done so well here. So black has this one annoying piece in his half of the board, so it's very natural to try and kick it. The problem is, so what does he do? He just develops. Remember, he learned his lesson from the previous game. He didn't have the coverage on f1, so that's quite smart. And black is out of materials, so just goes for it. And now white's looking quite nice with the open f-file. You see all these weaknesses around the black king. Basically, he was desperate to attack, but white's got the material in hand to make progress. And again, f6 is weak. He's trying to make progress, and we're looking like a queen trade. Queen to queen, but are you getting mated? He's just somehow safe for now. Rook takes pawn. I don't see the mates as the problem. So was there nothing stronger here? The problem is knight f6, just king takes bishop, and this square is defended. So going for a pawn, what's his idea of going for a pawn? Not sure. So yeah, white to play. So white should be in good shape, but I can't see it. I can't see anything good. You've got to watch out if this is anything. Like surely it isn't anything, but you have to be careful because black has a lot of material. You know, 2 knights, a bishop. So even this is interesting because you're threatening. This and this knight here will be for sure, surely mating. But you might be getting mated yourself is the problem if you move this knight. Like, is the knight a guard of g7? Is this anything? Yeah, knight here, king here. I'm not sure. Knight here, check. King here, so queen h1, is it anything? Queen h1 takes, knight takes g3. Yeah, really unsure. So he does this instead, bishop h2. What is the idea? And yeah, Lone Wolf also says knight needs to develop. This is guarding e7, or knight f6 will mate. apparently. Okay, he's opening up the rook file, which is threatening for sure. Rook takes pawn, just instant. Boom. That can't have been right. But I guess pawn here, there was... Why was pawn h3 not played? Well, this is instant. Takes, and g3 becomes open. So, okay, you have to take it, or queen h2 is mate. And you have to take it with the rook, correct? I think it's correct, yeah. Something's gone wrong. I mean, you can go rook takes pawn, but he just blocks. Okay, so white's turn to find mate. With 1 minute 37 on the clock. So you should always leave yourself some time for these sorts of positions where you probably have a mate somewhere, you just have to find it. Believe it or not. Oh, bishop takes. Andruha, yeah, thanks. Who are you on Lichess, Andruha? Because you're seeing all the things I'm missing. Just knight takes here is interesting, but this also looks good. Just trying to deflect this knight from this square here. And with 3 seconds on the clock, okay, that's... Just sacks here, that will be good. Bishop here will stop, forces you back down. And bishop here, we don't have a second bishop. So he's, ooh, that's allowing king to run to this side. I think king, pawn, surely that was not the right approach. Pawn, king here, knight, king here, knight, king here, and he's fine. So something was missed. If he'd done bishop here, it forces the king back down, and then pawn here, king here, knight here, feels stronger. Okay, trouble is now coming, and white is getting mated, I think here. Yep, queen here and queen here is checkmate. Game over. Okay, actually king's running forwards, but wow, 2 queens. And that's it. So retarded platypus takes it 6 games to 3, but for sure tjarkvos had something here. Let's see the Lichess chat. I'm going to actually, since this is the end of the match, I'm going to run analysis on this final game, because it may be more than one time things changed. So in this initial position, I thought white was doing quite well. So much for my thinking. Takes. I'm just wrong apparently. So I thought white was doing well, and I'm just wrong. Just plain wrong. Rook takes f4 is a good move. At g3 was okay. So queen h1 didn't work. So that's a way to lose your game. But you have to be careful. So king h2 apparently is not so good. But king g1 and you're actually okay. So the reason king h2 is not so good is knight at f1. And add h2 is coming if you don't take that. So you have to take it. You have to give away a rook. So this is scary. And then you have to take it again. So I wouldn't be surprised actually if this is mate. And Stockfish just is still looking and doesn't quite see it yet. Anyway, the point is this is clearly interesting for black, but it's not the best approach. And you can't just go knight takes g3. I think that's going to be important. Why can't you go knight takes g3? Because if knight takes f6, king takes here, and at d6 will be mating you apparently. So takes, king f8, at e7, king g7. So it's not clear immediately, but takes, king here, knight takes h5, doesn't quite work. Nope. Knight e8. You want to throw away the knight. It's a castaway problem. This knight is just getting in your way. You want to cast it away. This doesn't work because then knight takes defends the f6 square. So this is the correct approach. And now you've got your queen in. Actually pawn in first and then queen here is checkmate. Okay, so that's very nice. And I didn't see that. But I did see it looked a bit dangerous. Okay, so bishop h2 just looked like it was giving away a piece. This just takes. h5. The thing is, why couldn't this just be taken? The problem was bishop takes h4 and white's completely winning. Any other move, and yeah, I missed this bishop takes h4. Of course, if you take with the pawn, you're getting mated. Okay, so this was quite smart to block on h4. Oh, Andruha, of course, you're Andrew. Okay, oh, wonderful. Blunderman says bishops move backwards. Hard, yeah, exactly. So white is completely winning in this position. Rook takes f3 is obvious, yep. And now to find the mate. Knight at g7, apparently, is the way to go. Knight at g7, deflect this knight, and then knight at f6, king takes at d6, and all those sorts of ideas. So this way, it also works. So this way, white should still be doing fine, but there's a critical move here, which is knight at g8. Because if you do takes, rook takes, at f6, and you have enough, apparently, to finish this off, which I can very well believe. King takes, just throw in any old mate. So knight h5, king e7, bishop here is coming, bishop here is coming, king here is coming, and then rook and queen will mate. Yeah, good, good, good. So that's very logical. But okay, so that was missed. Not necessarily. Queen at c7 looked very decent as well. White still does have mate with queen takes d6. Wonderful. I expected as such. And I was thinking, in this position, you need to stop the king running to the queen side. So that was the move I was thinking. But it's not so obvious here. There's a very important move here is knight at g8. King f8, knight at h7. So we're just, the idea is if this, pawn at h6. And if it takes the knight, we're getting a rook. Okay, so these sorts of ideas. So knight at g8 is important, and then if you take it, then of course we take back and we're opening up this square, and we have a rook in hand. So that's looking good. And if we go back to d8 here, then at c7, king c8, knight e7, king b7. You think you're running away, but we have two knights which are going to be enough. King b6. Okay, this is very funny. You promote to a knight. You promote to a knight. And notice these two knights 3 away, just guarding these 4 squares. And if you step up, you're clearly running into trouble with pawns. So you have to take it. Takes. Now you've opened up this square. Rook at a6, king b5, knight at d6, and that's checkmate. Okay, so it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare for black. But what happened in the game was, in fact, pawn here, and the king runs away, and black is fine. I thought he'd run this way, but apparently this is good. And now black has mate. Takes and delivers some mate. Okay, so it was a kind of topsy-turvy game. You just see I don't know if you can quite see the chart, but black was doing surprisingly well, with this bishop h2 suddenly not so well. And the key move, I haven't even shown this, was knight at f3. Clearly you have to clearly you have to take it. I mean, you don't want to take it like this, because then bishop at h2 apparently becomes a nice idea. Bishop at h2, king takes, queen here check. Why can't we just block? Oh, queen takes g3, king g1, at h3, and rook and knight here is checkmate. Okay, and so why can't we take it with the knight? Because then we just take it back. Very chill. And say you haven't got any mates. And apparently black's doing well. That's a strange old thing. And of course, king f2 is the other move. But then I have no idea. 5 Knights of Apocalypse, says Andruha. Knight f3 is nice, says Goosefraba369. And I know who you are, Goosefraba, as well. Remind the Twitch chat who you are, because I remember but I've forgotten. Knight f3 ideas Platy missed a lot. Oh yeah, in two games there was these knight f3 ideas. In the other one it was mating. So here's a difficult move, queen at d1. But there's a slower move which also works, bishop here. And you can't take here or queen at d2. Gustrava, of course, you're Natso Barbosos on the Discord. So Barbosos, so you're the horde player. So rook takes bishop, knight takes, and again that's a kind of, apparently black is safe. So black is safe but can't safely take anything. I mean, if he takes, stuff is falling. Knight at c1, queen, knight at c1, king d2, queen at d2, king c3, rook c4. Okay, so black did have it. This kind of gives away the advantage, but white missed the critical move here. And the critical idea was always this knight at g8 kind of idea. Okay, so congrats to and also your I blunder a lot 124 Barbosos. Yeah, I remember now. So congrats to Platy. He goes through to the 6th round of elimination. He's way ahead of everyone else. That was a tough match. What was the score in the end? It was 6-3. Tjarkvos is a tough opponent. So let's just put that in. 6 and 3. Submit scores. And he will go on to face the loser of 4-4-3. So let's just see what 4-4-3 is. I'm going to have to just manually take a look what 4-4-3 is. 4-4-3 is the loser of Mugwort against Morlock. Wow. That is going to be a tough battle. Mugwort against Morlock. And it's not even round 5, it's round 4. Mugwort against Morlock. Yeah, we can look forward to that. And then the loser has to play Platy. And the winner has to play probably Mastertan or Marioton. But Mastertan obviously a big favourite for that one. Yeah. So we've got some really tough matches. And to be fair, when you go into the elimination bracket, you have to win. You have to get to round 10 to actually qualify. So if you can just win 5 straight matches, you just save yourself a lot of hassle. So you just think about, if Katask will face the winner of Pawn in Training against Antic for a place in the candidates, the loser will have to win 2 more matches to get into the candidates. Dog Answer against Burpcal, that's already a candidates match. So if you can just win 5 straight matches, that's the easy way of getting into the candidates. If you're going to have to go through the elimination battle, you have to win up to round 10. It's a real nightmare. Blitz Bullet variants only, another battle. Am I playing Cisco Strava? I am playing. I am playing. I've been waiting for a round 3 match to finish. Bugzilla against Bughouse Knight. So I'm in the elimination bracket. Jan Lee against Cabbage against 264 Brock is this Sunday. I can show you. I've been waiting for Mugwort against Morlock, Mastertan against Marioton. I've been waiting for this match, Marioton against Atamek, which just happened earlier this evening, and they didn't tell people they were playing. And Marioton won 6-4. I think it was Chile against Austria. And so I face Atamek in round 4, but I only just found out tonight. So maybe next weekend I play against Atamek. I don't usually stream my own matches though, just because I think streaming puts you at a disadvantage. And the finisher has to face Alduto, and if he wins he has to face Clearcast in round 5, or not Jan Lee. That's another exciting match, by the way. If you tune into Clearcast's channel on Sunday, Clearcast will be streaming Crazyhouse all day practically. So go, everyone here, go follow Clearcast. Now, how do I do this? Clearcast. Eek. I'm just trying to work out what his username is exactly. I think it's Clearcast Chess _chess. Someone can hopefully confirm. So, okay, 6-on against Schwanet again. Clearcast will be streaming that match on Sunday. So there's lots of very exciting stuff happening on Sunday. So you should all follow Clearcast. I will be streaming the Metin match in 20 minutes. Absolutely. Can someone confirm Clearcast is Clearcast_chess? Okay, let's just do it. Let's Clearcast_chess, just to check it out. Okay, I can't do the dashboards. It'll say I'm not allowed. Let's see. I'll just confirm myself. Just trying to make sure that I don't. Yes, good. Okay, there we go. So I'll shout it out. How do I? What's the shout out command? I'm just so useless at Twitch. Okay, I'm just gonna. I guess I just paste the link myself. Become my own Nightbot. Nightbot can usually do these things for you if you just type. Is it .so? I don't know how to use Nightbot, clearly. I'm not sure what the command... Unrecognized command. Oh, exclamation mark .so. Okay, thanks. Okay. Yeah, I need to learn how to use my own commands. There you go. And while we're here, if you're not following my YouTube, that's where all my best content goes. And that's where all my historical content is saved, so you can see all my past. That's where you can see all my past streams, and they're all arranged in nice playlists. It's very nice. And if you're interested in in Crazyhouse, that's the blog with lots of interesting things on it, like index of studies and so on. Okay, so yeah, I'll be back in 18 minutes for the Metin match. I think I'll close the stream here, but I'll be back in not very long, in less than 20 minutes. So we're going to see Metin against Metin 48 against Tremel 2. Just checking that Tremel 2 isn't online already. Because if they're online already, I'm worried they start early or something. But I don't. Yeah, I think they'll probably both wait until the correct time. So okay, we're going to be back. So it'll be Tremel 2 from the USA up against basically the most famous Crazyhouse player in terms of having played the most games of almost anyone. I mean, he's rivaling G. Rogers in terms of number of games played in his life, because he's played 36,000 on this account, and he's played another like 60,000 or 70,000 on his previous account. Okay, so maybe G. Rogers still has more games, but Metin 48 is definitely one of the most experienced Crazyhouse players out there, and he's from Turkey. So there we go. That's what we have to look forward to in 17 minutes. See you all then, if you are still up. If you're not, have a good night. Bye, guys.